My first question today pointed out that a lot of people call The Who the godfathers of punk and asked how they're actually related to that genre. People definitely gloss The Who with that title all the time, but to be honest, I don't agree with it. For me, the foundations of the late 70s punk movement lie in people like Woody Guthrie, the Velvet Underground, the Stooges, and lots of other bands. The Who are not among them. The Who did a great job on turning the volume way up and making that an acceptable practice within all styles of punk rock, and yeah, punk borrows from that a little bit. Sure, they also smash their instruments, but you can definitely find that in many earlier acts. They did not invent breaking down the drum kit. And musically, I just don't see The Who in even remotely the same world as punk rock. The progressions and the writing and the music of The Who is well beyond the world of punk rock. Nobody's gonna argue that. And in terms of form and musical content and overall stylistic approach, they're just in two different musical universes, and it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying The Who weren't a bit rebellious and weren't edgy, but they just weren't punk rock. There's no way around that fact. Sure, they had more of a raucous attitude than the Stones or the Beatles or some of their other peers, but punk? No way. Not even in the least in my book. My second question asks, when critics like me say an album had bad musical production, what exactly does that mean? Also, isn't it possible that a low production style album can be better than a high production album? And just, hey, what's all this musical production crap all about? To me, saying that something has bad production is possibly the most subjective thing that a music critic can say. As some people like that smooth, full sound, while other people really like a thin, dry sound. It's really a matter of taste when it comes to production. And that's why when I say something's bad in terms of production, it's because the record itself suffers from it. It's done some sort of damage to the music. Maybe things just sound sloppy when they shouldn't, the mix is way too compressed, the mix is way off, or there's some other technical issue that definitely should have been caught before the song or album was released. I think there are tons of low production albums that blow high production albums out of the water. When you look at the prices and the overall style there, it proves that just because you put a lot of money into something doesn't mean it's gonna sound good. I think most of the time when production stuff goes wrong, it's because you have the wrong engineers or producers on the side of the glass opposite from the band. It's just not the right combination. Oftentimes, especially bigger acts, they want that name, even when it might be somebody who's really not good with the style of music they play. And while some of the time this definitely works, most of the time the album just doesn't add up. The other possibility is that a band is doing the production themselves and they just can't get far enough removed from the project to see where the flaws are. Or you have a situation where a performer is so big that there's no one around him to say, no, that's not really good. You know, like Prince. In the end, as far as I'm concerned, bad production is shared by everybody involved in the project, whether it's the engineers, the producer, the label, the band. There's so many people that would have a chance to catch a problem like that before it goes out that if it makes it out, it's everybody's fault. My last question asked how to get into the current state of hip hop and rap music. I totally get this. If you're above about 25, you can be a bit intimidated by the sounds and all the different people out there in hip hop music right now. And like any genre, there's a lot of bad examples that are going to turn you off to the genre as a whole, but there is still tons of great music to be found if you dig for it. One way to go about this is start with a hip hop artist that you know, even if it's an older artist, and look for the artists that cite them or reference them or anything like that. The other way to do this is consider a specific style you might like. East Coast, West Coast, Southern rap, gangster rap, conscious hip hop, trip hop, psych rap, underground, whatever. There are tons of subgenres in the world of hip hop. Then all you have to do is go head over to a website or just use Google and dig into the results and find stuff you like. Trust me, there's a ton there. Off the top of my head, the artists I've been digging over the last few years are people like Sign and Atmosphere and Run the Jewels. There's Mac Lethal, Despot, the list really goes on and on. There's so much great hip hop out there. The key is you have to be willing to dig through a lot of crap because the internet has made it so everybody can put their music out there no matter how bad they are and no matter what genre they're in. Don't get caught up being a bitter old person saying rap's just not like it used to be. There's great stuff out there, go dig the new music. So those are my questions for this week. If you've got any music related questions, email them to me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.